One of the most common goals that many of my clients have is to make their wives happy. Now, while this is really noble, it's also misguided. And that's because it requires men to give up parts of who they are to give their wives what they want. Does this sound familiar? And if you've bought into the happy wife, happy life way of thinking, you're putting your marriage at risk. I'm Leslie Dories, your marriage coach and the creator of the Hero Husband Project. And you can't have a true partnership if only one person's thoughts, needs, and desires are considered. But marriage has to work for both of you. Or if it's only working for one of you, it's really not going to work in the long run. But men have been taught that what matters to them must always take second place. That the secret to a happy marriage is to always say, yes, dear. Now, this leads to some common scenarios, and quite frankly, none of them are good. So the first thing is you stand up for yourself, and then this creates tension and arguments. Now, no one likes to hear the word no, and your wife is not any different. But sometimes no is what you need to say. But guess what? She doesn't like it. And what frequently happens then is that you end up in this tug of war, you versus her, right versus wrong, heated discussion that goes round and round until one of you, usually you, gives up. And both of you walk away feeling defeated. This kind of interaction is exhausting. And so it can lead to scenario number two. Now, sometimes scenario number two happens because you don't want conflict. You don't want to go through scenario number one. And this is you give in and then you get resentful. Okay. So what happens is that you do what she wants all the time, but really don't want to. And resentment grows, and resentment kills love. Okay, now some of the things that I've seen happen when this is going on is that you pull away from the marriage. You just, it's just too hard to engage. Sometimes men will just go ahead and do what they want to do anyway and deal with the consequences. And as resentment builds and you get really, you start to really feel that, then one of the other things that happens is just dismissing any reasonable request that your wife may make. You just always say no, okay? And the last scenario is that you give in and you lose yourself. And this is a scenario that a lot of the good guys who really love their wives, the ones that I work with, this is the one they choose because they just stop paying attention to what it is that matters to them and settle for what their wives give them. Now, in this scenario, you'll have peace, but you won't have connection because it's almost like you've been put on an emotional starvation diet. Because when you can't be who you are, when you can't do the things that excite you, it diminishes what you can bring to the marriage. You're no longer, a whole person, and also that means you're not the man that she fell in love with. Now, I'm not going to lie, it is important to consider your wife's opinions, thoughts, whatever, before you take action. But it's also critically important that you consider your own views and how you feel about stuff. Not before her, not after her, but in addition to her. Because marriage is not you versus your wife. It's you and your wife now and always. Now, I'm not going to lie, putting yourself back into your marriage in this way, if you've gotten out of practice of it, can be really uncomfortable. I get that. But knowing how to do it in a consistent and productive way is one of the main areas that I focus on in the Hero Husband Project. So if you would like to learn more about how to do this or just more in general about the Hero Husband Project, then I invite you to go to my website, www.theherohusbandproject.com, or you can send me an email directly at coach@theherohusbandproject.com. So I hope I'm going to hear from you soon, because you deserve to be part of your marriage.